Hey everyone, I'm Coach Chippys and I've been a professional top laner or head coach for the past 8 years. During this time I've reached Worlds and MSI multiple times. Now I'm a full-time coach with a ton of passion towards helping players unlock their potential and climb to their dream rank. Welcome back guys, today we're going to be covering exactly how Bob Jenkins, an NA Academy player, managed to hit over 2000 LP on the North American ladder playing Kennen. And the reason I was so interested and really wanted to study it is because most of the time, when a top laner hits rank 1, they're playing champions such as Jax or Yone or Riven, champions with a ton of 1v9 potential, if you have really high mastery on the champion. Where Kennen, in my opinion, he can carry games, don't get me wrong, but he carries more so in teamfighting. He does have a strong laning phase, but he doesn't really quite have that 1v9 power as those other Bruiser champs do, so we're going to be studying exactly how he managed to pull this off. So starting off with his runes, and the runes he likes to take on Kennen is his Summon Airy page most of the time, and in this page he runs the Absolute Focus, Gathering Storm, and Nimbus Cloak. Now he never really deviates from Gathering Storm, he does run that every game, haven't really seen him take Scorch even in a hard matchup such as Akshan, and as for his secondary runes he does take the Taste of Blood and Ultimate Hunter. Now the only times I see him deviate from the Airy page is when he's playing mid Kennen, he will take Phase Rush or Electrocute depending on matchup, or if he's versus a tank top such as Sion, some games he will take Conqueror. Next we'll be reviewing his laning phase before we dive into mid game and team fighting, and for our first matchup he is up against Akshan. Now this is of course a Kennen counter pick, but he still knows how to win these hard lanes, and something you'll notice that he does in a lot of matchups is he looks to take over this bush level 1, and he's even warded it. Now, the reason he's warded it is he knows Akshan's going to get prio in this matchup. He doesn't want Akshan to be taking over this bush, walking in and out of it, shooting him down, and if he wards it later on, when Akshan's already in there, he can of course clear it with his double hit passive, so he needs to have the ward down preemptively. And now, the reason he doesn't need his ward as well is because he knows Akshan's going to get pushed in this matchup, so he doesn't really need his ward for a jungle gank. It's more important for him to use it for his lane. Now, something else you'll notice is he's constantly going to be hitting the wave. He's chucking a lot of auto attacks onto it, because even though he knows he can't get pushed in this matchup, if Akshan's playing normally, he knows Akshan's going to get prio. He doesn't want to be giving him a hard prio, because in a range versus range matchup like this, there's a big difference between giving hard prio and soft prio, where if Akshan gets level 2, with a, let's say, 2 to 3 creep difference, he can just spin on the Kennen and take a really good trade, because he's got a bigger wave, he's a level 2, there's no way Kennen can level up. If Kennen is constantly hitting the wave, they're going to get level 2 at a similar time, as you'll see now. Akshan is level 2, but if he's spun on this Kennen, of course he'll just throw the auto at this minion, get level 2 as well, and be able to win the trade. So he's removed that possibility where Akshan can punish him level 2 vs 1 just from constantly hitting the wave, even though he knows he can't get pushed anyway. So as you can see, he's not afraid to trade as well. And the way he uses his W, I was really impressed with. I haven't really versed many Kennens who use this very well. Where, as you'll see, he auto-attacks once, and a lot of Kennens would press W right now. They would pop the W active and get that extra damage down, but he waits it out, he waits for his next W to come, not off cooldown, but for him to stack it on the wave, and then he Ws now at around the last second, so that now he's got time to stack his W up again, the 4th auto, and now he can throw and actually get the stun off. So this is important, of course, extra damage. And also, Akshan can't retrade onto Kennen right now. He's stunned. Kennen can actually get an extra auto. So he's taking these trades without Akshan being able to trade in response because he's holding out his W. He's spacing it, and he's actually able to stun him completely off 1 W with no Q and no E, just stunning him purely from his W usage, which I was really impressed with. And it's led to him having this really big HP lead in the matchup, which of course, Akshan's getting pushed but losing all these trades. So he would be vulnerable to jungle as well if Jarvan was clearing up. But Jarvan's going down this game, so that's not going to be an option. But as you can see now, he's not afraid to take trades like this that are more even, because he's already created an advantage for himself. He's already high HP versus, 2/3, 3/4, whatever it may be. So now he's fine to trade a big chunk of HP for his, because now Akshan is in a position where he can't really punish. He can't get this wave in without being in a threat of dying. And as you'll see shortly, he actually punishes him, pops his, whatever that rune is, that magic resist one nobody uses, and now he looks to punish him. So again, spacing out his W usage, and here he even gets to stun off a W yet again, and he's able to execute. So he flashes in, gets the kill, and the biggest thing I was impressed with is he really knows this matchup. He took over the push, he used his ward. He didn't give Akshan any opportunity to bully him, to take over this bush, to, attack him coming in with the wave, stuff like that. He really valued the bush control, took it over, and his use of W was really impressive because he was able to get multiple stuns down with purely his W. Didn't have to hit a Q, didn't have to hit an E, which is of course very difficult in a range versus range matchup. He was able to get really good damage down purely from his good W usage and bush control. For our next matchup, we have Kennen vs Fiora. Now this one is in Kennen's favor, but you still need to play it very well. A high-low grass Fiora can make this matchup very volatile. If you tank a few Qs, of course you don't have any sustain, so you do have to space quite well. And you'll notice yet again he's going to be playing for bush control. He's taking over this bush level 1 and walking in with the wave. Now it's really important you walk in with the wave, you don't go too early or too late, because if Fiora is in this bush looking to cheese him, all the minions would chase her into the bush, he'd win the trade and he'd be able to get his bush control. And now he's constantly hitting the wave because he wants to be securing pro. Kennen will get pushed in this matchup, but if there's a skill gap, Fiora can ego push sometimes, so it's important you secure pro from level 1. Make sure she can't get level 2 before you. And now you'll notice something. I'm not sure if he did it intentional. I'm going to assume it was because it's a big way to win this matchup. Is you want to be baiting Fiora to Q but spacing it. So here he gives her just enough range that's making her tempted to Q in and pop the Vital, but he steps back. He fakes going for an auto and steps back so that she Qs forward, misses the Q, doesn't get the Vital, and now he's able to pop his E aggressively. Because her Q's on cooldown, she can't retrade onto him right now. He was able to get a good trade, get the extra attack speed from E, and help him get push as well. Now something else you'll notice is he's slowed down his push a lot right now. He's not constantly auto-attacking the wave, because even though he does one push, he doesn't want a 2-wave crash on accident, allow her to freeze outside her tower, or just not have a significant amount of pro. He really wants to be 3-wave crashing in this matchup, so that he can use that timer. Now, what he's going to be using the timer for, it differs from game to game. He can either poke her under tower, or he can use that prior to move, help his jungler, see what's going on, and in this game his jungler actually looks to invade the blue. So speed up a little, as you can see, wave 3, he pops his E, pops his W, he's hard pushing this wave, because he wants to be getting pushed as fast as possible, so that he can help his jungler. So there, Belveth is invading blue, so he looks to join him, burns his Rengar's flash, helps him get the blue buff, so a really good use of his early pro, but now he wants to be getting back to lane, because a really bad thing to do in this matchup, a big mistake, is if you don't trim your wave right now from this point after you crash 3, Fiora can just crash this massive wave under tower and then get a free recall off and walk back to lane and hold her TP. So then even if you poke her down in the future, around level 4 to 6, she's just going to be able to base in TP whenever she wants, get her Merc Treads, and the matchup won't be quite as in your favor as it should be. So it's important he freezes the wave outside his tower, but to do that he needs to trim it. So he's constantly auto-attacking the wave, poking her down as well, and making sure the minion wave is manageable so that he can freeze it here. So he'll let the minions hit tower, he doesn't care, he just wants to be freezing the casters outside, and now you can see he's constantly poking her down when she's trying to get the wave in. So the only way she can bail herself out of the situation is to base in TP, which is something he wants her to have no TP, but also if she does that, she's going to lose a ton of XP, or she can cry for her jungler. Now, in my opinion, Bob Jenkins made a mistake here. Something you should look to do versus Rengar is Rengar can't gank you from Tri or from River, it's not going to happen. You want to be using your ward for your lane bushes against Rengar so that you can spot these type of ganks and you can restrict them quite easily, because pre-6 Rengar can't really gank top unless you don't ward your lane, right? Which is a mistake he makes in this lane. He gets very tempted for the solo kill here, even flashes forward, so he gets punished. Despite dying to this gank, he still is in a really good position because he's able to TP back to lane and they're not actually able to stop his freeze in time. So he TPs back and he's still able to hold his freeze outside of tower. So as you can see now, Fiora's 1 HP, she has to base in TP, he's still got his freeze, they couldn't get it in on time. So now she's still in a bad position, even though her jungler came all the way in, waited here for a while and killed him, he's still going to be in a position where he can punish her. He's still gained an XP lead. Of course, Rengar was trying to push and stealing some of her XP, so he knows he's going to be getting level 6 first, so he wants to be poking her down before he gets to that point. So here again, keeping the wave frozen, poking her down when she goes in, and making it so that he's in a good position once he hits level 6. But now holding onto his W, wanting it to walk up, as you can see, he doesn't want to be throwing it at a minion until the last possible second. He wants to be getting that extra damage. But there he didn't want to be giving the last hit and spacing out his W active yet again, so that she has the orbs on her as long as possible, so that he can gain a stun. He doesn't want to just be hitting a Q instantly Wing, he wants to be spacing out that timer so that his Q is back off cooldown, or his next passive auto, so that he can guarantee the stun as much as possible, or make you have to respect him on 2 orbs. A really good use of his W active. And now you can see he's just constantly getting down damage. She's trying her hardest to get this wave in, but she can't, and now he's able to abuse his level 6 timer. Now, a big benefit you'll find is if you play the way he did early game, and the jungler has to come bail him out. Even if he played better, warded the lane bush, and survived the gank, and Rengar had to brute force try to get the wave under tower. In this case he couldn't, because Fiora was too low, but let's say Fiora traded better, and Rengar helped him get the wave in, that is still a huge advantage for you, because your whole team is going to be seeing the Rengar waste time top. They're going to be able to play, their jungler can invade bot, your mid can play 1v1, bot 2v2. They're going to be able to play without a jungler in sight because he's wasting his time top. And the next benefit is Rengar is going to be taking a bunch of Fiora's XP, denying that bonus XP you get from top lane. So he's able to gain an XP lead regardless of what happens, even though in an ideal world, it'd be a 1v1, he could just hold his freeze forever, punish that Fiora. As you can see, he probably would have solo killed him if it was 1v1. Wasting the jungler's time is very valuable, and a skill you should look to adopt on Kennen as well. And for our final matchup, we have Kennen versus Rumble, because we've seen a bad matchup and a good matchup, so now it's time to see how he plays a skill matchup, so we can hit all 3 tiers of laning. And as you can see yet again, he's taking over this bush level 1, walking in with his wave, and he's looking to force push in this matchup. Now, Rumble could look to ego push with Q if he wanted to, but he would take a lot of damage in response, so he's playing it safe. He's starting E, letting Kennen push towards him, he's trying to stay high HP, and Kennen is just happy to get push and poke down Rumble if he walks up. The pretty standard stuff, Rumble playing in the bushes, trying to hit E's onto Kennen, Kennen using the creeps to block it of course, but eventually he's going to be looking to abuse his level 2 timer. So speed up a little bit, you can see he's trying to slow push this wave because he doesn't want to be 2-wave crashing yet again, wants to be doing a clean 3-wave, and now that he's level 2 vs 1, he's going to be looking to trade onto him. Of course, get a stun down with E and W, and Rumble actually pops Ignite in response and trades back onto him. So now from this point, they're both low HP, but of course, because he's getting pushed, he's going to be getting level 3 before him, and he really uses his timer well, flashes right onto him, and this is what I was really impressed with this whole time. He's holding onto his Q, he flashes inside of him with E, gets the auto W, waits for the stun, waits for Rumble to be stunned and flash away before he commits his Q to this trade, which is a big thing that you should look to do on Kennen. A lot of Kennens just throw their Q out, they would have flashed in, chucked a Q, trying to get the instant stun, but he's happy to wait for his auto attack to connect, get that guaranteed stun, so that it means his Q is going to hit 100%. But of course on Kennen you max Q most of the time, basically every time, unless you're doing the on-hit build, so you really want to be looking to ensure the highest hit rate from your Q, and if you can stun them before you even throw your Q out, of course it's going to guarantee the hit. Up next, we're going to be covering how he plays out his mid-game and how he translates his lead into teamfights and skirmishes, and a common theme from his mid-game macro, a pattern he follows, is he neutralizes his side wave, so he puts in a position where he doesn't have to deal with it, and then he rotates down to teamfights and skirmishes. So here, he neutralizes side, pushes a one wave past even, and then he's going to be a part of a fight. He doesn't find himself tunneling on being in side lane too much, playing for the 1v1 kill on Rumble, because even though he could push top wave all the way under tower, poke Rumble, even kill him with ulti if he overextends, that's not what you're picking Kennen for. You're not picking Kennen for your side lane domination, and of course that's going to make him vulnerable at the same time. If he plays that way, he wants to be pushing out the wave and bringing his lead to the rest of the map, being a part of as many fights and skirmishes as he can, when his ulti's up especially, and now you notice yet again, one-shots the wave, and then he sees a fight breaking out, so he goes down. He's not tunneling on power farming, he's not playing Kennen to scale or to play 1v1 inside, he wants to be a part of as many fights and skirmishes as he can. And here he's just poking them down using his spells, his ulti's not quite up yet, and now he's going to be using it at a bit of time anyway. He gets a 2-man ulti here, gets a couple kills, and then he's going to be looking to hopefully kite this fight up and reset the same process. So he'll run it out, flash away, and then he's going to look to base, come back onto the map and reset the same process. So push out side wave, not push it out, more so neutralize it. So put it in a position where you don't have to deal with it, and depending on matchup, that's going to be different. Maybe if he was versus Fiora, he'd have to push it even further, but versus Rumble, Rumble doesn't have a lot of threat on tower. He doesn't really care if he pushes this wave out, and then looks to fog and Rumble stays and pushes, right? Not really a problem. Rumble's not a side laning champion as well. He just pushes it one wave past even, and then he looks to fog down to a team fight or skirmish. And it's not always going to work out. This one actually goes quite poorly. He's unable to reach the Lux, and his teammate gets killed, but that's the general idea. You reset your side wave to the point where you don't have to deal with it in the future, and you use that free time that you bought yourself to fog down towards your team, commit if it looks good, commit if a fight opportunity breaks out, and if not, you just go back to side and repeat the process. You never really want to be focusing 1v1. Of course, there are some situations where killing your opponent is good. Pretty sure he does that in this game. He kills Rumble at a time when Rumble trolls, but for the most part, you just want to be fixing your wave and then being a part of as many fights as possible, because you're not going to win the game through side lane. As you can see here, Rumble plays aggressive, protobouts onto him, so of course you're going to kill your opponent if he disrespects like this, but you'll notice he's not pushing this wave all the way in and killing Rumble down here, trying to play in that style. He's not making himself vulnerable, trying to get a further advantage over Rumble. He just wants to be fixing the wave and rotating to his team, and if his lane opponent is trying to stop him from doing so, then of course he'll look to kill him, but for the most part he's looking to translate his lead to the rest of the map. Now, another important point with this deploy is a lot of the time, when you're playing a top lane champion that is strong in side lane, so say you're playing Jax or Camille, you want to be deploying straight to side so that you can push your wave all the way in and then look to rotate. But on this timer, you'll notice his wave is already in, because he killed Rumble, so Rumble is unable to push, he's up tempo over him, he's still dead, he's still not respawned yet, so he's going to have a huge timer that he can utilize to pressure the map. He doesn't want to be going top, clearing this wave, hitting tower, wasting his time like that. He's using any free time he can buy himself to be a part of the game, stacking W on Raptors as well, another cool little trick, and now he's just looking to hide in this bush. So he swept his way in, he's just hiding here, trying to cheese anyone that walks in, which is a big skill to gain on Kennen. You don't want to be showing on side, pushing, wasting time like that. The more time you spend unseen, looking to pressure, the better. And here you can see he gets a flank onto MF, gets a shutdown, and he's looking to basically abuse Rumble's bad tempo. Where if Rumble had not died, for example, pushes the wave all the way in, of course Kennen would have to answer it, but he notices every opportunity he can where he can be a part of fights or skirmishes, and he looks to do so. And if there was no fight, which in that time there was none, he looks to create his own window. He hides in a situation where, in a location, sorry, where maybe their jungler walks in for a camp, maybe their support goes to ward. He's constantly looking to cheese on timers when he has free time and there's no fight. And here you can notice another good ulti, the enemy team engages, he pops out, and he's able to win yet another fight because he's in the right place, right time. But it's not a coincidence. He's going here every single time he can. Every time he fixes his side wave to the point where he doesn't have to deal with it, he's looking to be a part of these fights and skirmishes, and if the side wave is already fixed from something he's done earlier, or from punishing his lane opponent's bad tempo, then he's just going to look to hide on bush somewhere in a location where he thinks the enemy's going to pop in. And now for the final sequence of the game, he's going to be looking to repeat the same process, neutralize a side wave, bog down to a fight. Very straightforward on Kennen when you get the hang of it. You don't want to be overextending inside very often, you just want to be neutralizing that wave and fighting, but he does see a timer to TPM. So here he TPs to save his his Yone, sorry, from getting flanked, and he's actually able to pick his Wukong on the way. And because they saw the Wukong commit bot, his team was able to get Baron, and as you can see, he hits every single Q, kills him with a W, really impressive stuff. But for me, the most impressive part about the way he plays his mid-game is even though he could completely destroy his Rumble, and it would be very tempting just to keep bullying your lane opponent, he could even 1v2 in my opinion, he doesn't want to tunnel on that too much. He wants to be sharing his lead to the rest of the map, because even if he killed this Rumble 3 more times, or even double killed him in Wukong, that's not really sharing his strength with the rest of his team. He wants to be being a part of as many fights and skirmishes as possible, so it's not just him getting ahead, his team's getting fit as well, because like we talked about at the start, Kennen is not a champion that can 1v9, which is funny to say because he basically 1v9 this game. He's a champion where you want to be sharing your strength that you should gain from winning your matchups to the rest of the map and winning team fights like that, and snowballing your entire team. Really impressive stuff from his mid-game, very consistent. He killed the Rumble once when the Rumble made a huge mistake, but he didn't tunnel on that, and that can be very tempting to do so. So really good discipline by him, and a great use of his champion in the mid-game. So I'll finish our review with one more team fight. This one's from a Champions Queue game. And as you can see, pretty standard stuff on Kennen. If you can, you want to be flanking your opponents from the side or the back. And here is no exception. He gets a great TP flank on the enemy bot lane, and he's able to blow them up. And even here, he holds on to his Q until the Jinx is completely stunned. The Q is a guaranteed hit, just in case she flashed, he held on to it, because it's your highest damage ability. You want to be holding on to it until it's a 100% guaranteed hit. And if you can chuck it when they're already stunned, of course, that's going to guarantee the hit even more. And pretty standard on team fighting on Kennen, look to flank from the side or the back. He doesn't do it every single time. Of course, it's unrealistic. A lot of the time, he will actually fight front to back initially, and then flash proto out to the backline later on. But for the most part, if he can get a good TP flank like in this example, that's what he looks to do. Alright everyone, I'm going to call it there, and if there's any other solo queue top laners you'd like to see me cover, feel free to let me know down below and I'll see what I can do. But other than that, best of luck in your games, and I'll see you guys next time.